Today, we're here with Thomas Traynor, who is the head of business intelligence and advanced analytics at Sanitas. Great to have you with us.
Pleasure to be here, Paul. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome stuff. So in a few words, tell us about your professional background and your journey to your current role.
Okay, where I am a computer scientist and telecommunication engineer myself. I've been working almost 15 years in data or data-related projects, if you will. My first couple of years of experience I was a software engineer working in traffic information systems. Okay, particularly implementing European-wide standards for exchanging traffic information real time between European member states. Okay, so at that point, I started to learn how important was the good design of data models. Okay, because traffic information is very complex, is not very homogeneous. You have to take into account many things that can happen in roads. So at that point, I had a lot of experience, designing data models. With that experience, I started working afterwards as a consultant in the Spanish traffic administration. Okay, so same government and this kind of things. And we built from scratch the new BI platform of this administration. Okay, completely from scratch. Okay, I was very lucky because in the same team I was involved, I get to work with very senior guys, but guys that probably when they were not computer scientists, because at the time they were in university, the computer scientist degree didn't exist. Okay, so they were physicists, they were mathematics, and they were people that they were very, how can I say it, exquisite at the time of designing databases, picking the data types, building the processes. So they were, they gave out of importance at the low level things, hardware and all the software. Okay, and all writing the perfect SQL queries, and for me I was very lucky because I learned a lot about the basics. And now like 10 years after, I'm understanding the importance of understanding the basics. Okay, because now you have a lot of program languages that abstract you from the low level things, but at the end of the day, that's very important. Understanding, to be a leader, to be a data leader, I think it's very important to understand what is going on behind the scenes. Okay, and also to try to transmit to others, what you are doing or what you pretend to do. After that, I work for a short time for a bank, and then I started working for Telefónica. Telefónica, one of the main telco companies in Spain, also with big operations around the world. And in Telefónica, what we did, we aggregate and anonymize all the data events from the antennas, from the network. Okay, from the events that our mobile phones, if you're a Movistar client, all the events that the mobile produce. And we did that information, we were able to understand how people move in the cities. Okay, so the people move from here to there. These people have this point of interest. The pattern of these guys is this or that. Okay, this maybe looks creepy, but this is all anonymized and aggregated. Okay, I don't know a single person what's doing. I know what's the population in general and in average doing in a typical day, week, or weekend. Okay, and I was the responsible for what we do with the data. We sell the insights that we gather from this data to different companies, like retail companies, road operators, train operators, metro operators, out of home media companies, tourist agencies, and other type of companies. Okay, so I was responsible for the delivery of these data sets or these insights to these companies so they can make better data-driven decisions. Also, there was a very good experience for me because besides being the technical responsible, I was also involved in the sales, in going to the companies and selling our data and our insights. Okay, so I started to connect the technical world with the business world. Okay, and that's what I mean. I had like a moment there, and I said, okay, this is what I wanted to do. I want to connect both worlds, because my feeling is that both worlds were not connected. In fact, I have learned the hard way. When we started selling these insights and the information, our claims were things like, we do big data, we have 1 billion events per day, we have big databases, and that didn't work. Okay, I started understanding that if you want to be a data leader, you need to sell value. Don't sell data, don't sell technology. You need to sell value. Okay, and that's one of the things I learned, and I'm pretty convinced. We're still pretty convinced about right now. And now, like 4.5 years ago, I started working at Sanitas. Sanitas is a health company. I was also a health insurance company. And my job here is exactly that, okay? Being the bridge between business and the data team and the data analytics team. So my job is basically, I need to make sure that all the projects we have, our data strategy, our data governance strategy has an impact in the business and in the health of our patients. Okay, so that's my role, and that's, I would say, also my obsession, being, making sure that things have an impact. Okay, because I think we have sometimes we have lost sight of what is data for. Okay, people are all the time, talking about this artificial intelligence data, and providing real value. Let me tell you, for at least in my experience, is not very easy. It's not very easy. So that's me. That's me. I would say not in a nutshell, because I have extended too much, but that's the summary of my professional career.
No, that's all fantastic stuff, and you've given me a lot to go on there. I think one question I would have is you mentioned that there was a part of your career where it changed from you mentioned the intersection of data and business 10 years ago when you were at the traffic general. How do you think that's changed since then? How do you think the relationship between data and business has changed over the last 10 years?
Sadly, I think it haven't changed that much. Okay, yes, a bit, but not. I mean, again, I think we have lost sight. Okay, at least in my experience. Okay, so all the things I'm saying, and this is obvious thing, but let me say, I say it in my experience. I've been working for more traditional companies, in traditional industries, mostly service-based companies. Okay, so probably what I'm about to say doesn't apply, to a Facebook or a Google or a SaaS company, software as a service company. Okay, but my experience in the last 8 years, I would say, is that we still there's a lack. We still lack a connection, between the data people, the more technical side, and the pure business people. Okay, the ones with the P&Ls over their shoulders. Okay, and let me tell you why. The first thing I want to say is data is not magic. Okay, there has been, and still there is, too much overselling around data and analytics and artificial intelligence. Okay, as I was saying, providing real value with data is not anything easy. Okay, again, data analytics and all these things are here to serve a purpose. For instance, in my case, improving the health of our customers, impacting our business KPIs, sales, medical expenditure, these kind of things. Okay, it seems obvious, but I still, and I myself, I'm now more in the business side sometimes. Okay, but I still hear like suppliers of us, of consultants in companies, telling us to build a data lake because the data lake itself is going to transform our company, or we need to, use more artificial intelligence because artificial intelligence by itself magically is going to transform our company, and we're going to win much money than we're doing right now. Okay, and That's not true. Okay, the customer we have behind, or the patients, they don't care if we have a machine learning algorithm running in the background. Okay, they care about the product, and they like it, or they don't like it. Okay, so to answer your questions, I think there is an opportunity, a big opportunity in terms of new tools, methodologies, people skills, training, and so on, in building these bridges to make sure that data has a real value in the bottom line of the company, in the P&Ls, that at the end of the day is what our employers want from us. Okay.
That's super interesting, and actually, I think when you talk about selling value and not selling data as this, this magic, this tool, is really interesting. So, with that in mind, what role do you think that data and analytics leaders, like heads of functions, chief data officers, what role do you think that they play in these transformations? Are these the guys that should be selling it? Are they overseeing the selling? What do you see in your experience as their role?
Okay, so first of all, okay, this to be a data analytics transformation leader, okay, the first thing you need to be is to be humble, okay, at least in the companies I've been working in, because we are not the ones making the money. We are the ones building the tools and supporting the businesses so they can win the money. Okay, it's as easy as that. Okay, maybe in another type of company probably is different. Okay, but I have the experience that I have. Okay, so first of all, you need to be humble. Okay, sometimes and I've been learning this across my career. I've been learning making mistakes, as I guess everyone else. Okay, so first, being humble is very important. Then you need to talk the business language, or the common language of the business. Okay, if you try to be too technical, and always putting technical words within all your phrases, and trying to mix up the audience with technicalities, in my experience, you're gonna fail. The simpler the speech, the better. That's one thing. Also, I think that you need to have a deep technical and functional background on data. That's why I was saying that when I was working in the Spanish Traffic Administration, I was very lucky of understanding the low level stuff regarding data tools, data software, or software engineering in general, if you will, or data architecture. Why is that? Because when you're a leader, you don't have the time to learn new languages, new methodologies, new, deep learning algorithms that they come almost every day. You cannot spend the time there. But if you know the basics, okay, you can understand everything else, at least until to the level that you need to understand it. Okay, so if you don't know, that's my opinion. If you don't know the basics, it's very difficult to be a great data analytics transformation leader, in my opinion. Okay, again, what I was saying earlier on, you need to sell value, not technology. Okay, I've met people in my life, that they are all the time, putting buzzwords in between their speech, using grandiloquent speech, that probably it doesn't take you anywhere. Okay, a leader, so a transformation leader, in my opinion, you need someone that takes risk and takes action. Okay, why is that, in my opinion? Because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. You're talking innovation in general. We don't know. People, they have their visions, their opinions, but they really don't know. There's a lot of randomness here, okay, and many things that we cannot control. Okay, so the only thing we can do as transformation leaders is take risk and try things, and that if that thing fails, try another thing, or pivot, or change, and data is here to help also measure the impact and these kind of things. But using buzzwords, grandiloquent speech, what is where I feel is in the market right now, at least in my environment, we are still, meeting consultancy companies, and as I was saying, they're selling they're selling technology as it is magic. They're not selling value. That's the thing that needs to be changed. And also, and last but not least, I think that a leader needs to be multi-skilled. People management, project management, finance, and these kind of things that probably is obvious also to other type of leaders, not only for data. And also, and one that I try to foster a lot where I have where I can foster it. That is in my job right now, is foster critical thinking. Okay. Also, there's a lot around move fast and break things from Facebook, fake it until you make it. So this maybe works in companies like Facebook or companies with very big teams of engineers and that they move really fast. But in the 80% of the other companies in the world, or 90, or like service-based companies, you need to think a bit before investing and before trying things. Okay. So that's another thing. Okay, I've been learning in my career, and I think I still try to foster, like, let's wait and think for a minute here, and let's see what's the better plan and the action plan, and where should we put the resources, the money, and these kind of things. Okay, so that's more or less what I would say a data analytics transformation leader should be now, in my opinion, again.
Yeah, so courageous but patient, and assertive but aggressive. This is the problem, right? That you have to have this plethora of skills, but it's really hard to actually. That's just the individual. I mean, how important do you think are the soft skills side of things? So things like communications, influence, persuasion, and in general, the ability to actually build fruitful relationships as a leader. So actually passing these qualities on to other people.
Yes, I would say the emotional intelligence is the most important intelligence in the suite of intelligence. If you understand what I mean, okay? We come from, like, I don't know, like 50 years or 20 years ago, it was all about intellectual capacity or IQ. Okay, now you know that you have other type of intelligence. So to be a leader, I think that emotional intelligence is the most important. Not only to deal with your team, but to deal with yourself. Okay, because things move very, very, very quickly. If you I don't know if you use Twitter and you read Twitter, but I follow almost all the top minds in data and analytics you can follow in Twitter, and I am every day seeing new things, new algorithms, new use cases, new problems, new opportunities, and that's too much information, and you need to be in your emotional control to filter out all the noise and to say, okay, Thomas, this is where you are, this is your plan, this is where you're going, focus in this. Okay, so I would say that emotional intelligence again. And also, if you are a humble person, you probably you have a good share of emotional intelligence, I would say. And then you need to keep training yourself. Okay. Also, I like to read books, also around happiness, positive thinking, emotional intelligence. I think that's something you don't get to, you don't get trained in your job or in your academic years, but there are thousands of books out there that can help you here. Okay. And that's it on emotional intelligence.
And this is another trait we're talking about right now, is kind of the discipline. You're not going to get paid to go and read a book on emotional intelligence, right? You need to have that insight in your own time. And I also think you mentioned a really good point about running away with data analytics. So because you're a data analytics leader, it's very easy to get excited about it. But what you need to do is take yourself out of that and think about your audience, right? Think about, okay, who am I communicating to? How am I going to influence these guys? How am I going to persuade these guys of the importance? What do I need? I need to take the elements out of it and really break it down into to simple terms. And that is the humility piece, right?
It's spot on. Probably, I don't know, several years ago, I went to my boss or sometimes to C-level committees, and I spent time, telling them about the algorithm, the variables, how we train the algorithm, the results, the confidence intervals. And, that's not the audience for, I was trying I think I was trying to show off. Okay. And I understand very rapidly that you need to sell value, and you need to tell, a boss or a director or a general manager, okay, so this project is focused on, I don't know, reducing the customer that are lapsing, or this project is focused on better optimizing the resources of our call center, and you need to take in business terms, okay? And if you talk in business terms, and they trust you, that you understand the business, they will trust you what the method you use behind, the algorithm or the data. They don't want to inquire you in that, But at some point we lost sight, and we think that the algorithm is more important than the thing we are pursuing, and that's a big mistake. In fact, now in my job, for us, success is when the business itself is the one talking about our data project, okay? Because we are completely aligned, we are the same team, we're working together, and that's a success because they are the ones talking, good words about the work of my team, and that's the sweet spot that we work to, and that's it.
And we've all been there when we got off track with the project or we've got lost. How do you find some of the best ways to really get back on track for that in previous projects that you've done?
I mean, having 100% of success is impossible. Okay, so that's there are projects that we discontinue. Okay, what I like to do is, first of all, I need to make sure that in the team, the data scientists, data engineering, but also the business stakeholders, the IT guys, they need to be in the team from the beginning. When I can, if the team is not complete, in my opinion, I don't start the project because I know I'm going to fail at some point. Okay, because there's going to be a dependence, a decision that is going to be made, and so on. Okay, but sometimes, although you have all the team, things things don't work as planned. Okay, what I try to do is managing expectations from the very beginning. Okay, I tell the team the plan. We're going to start understanding the business. Then we are going to start understanding the data, and we are going to measure if the data is enough to fulfill the purpose of this project. Okay, and I tell them maybe we find here a hard stop, and we need to do other things. Okay, so managing the expectation from the beginning is important. Sometimes people get focused in other things that are not relevant to the business. People get stuck with technical things that are a bit out of focus on the objective we are pursuing with the particular project. So what I do is stop here. Let's get back to the first step. This is what we are trying to do. The model that you are going to build is going to be actionated by the business in this way. So this thing that you are talking about is not so important and for this purpose. Okay, so we can understand this in after the project, in another version of this same project, but let's don't lose focus. Okay, so that's the kind of things I'm involved in a daily basis. Sometimes we don't succeed. Okay, and things get messed up. Politics, the data is or the objective was not well defined. That shit happens. Okay, but managing expectation from the beginning, having a plan, okay, that the plan starts with the business. You don't start the plan talking about algorithms or boosting, tree boosting, or deep neural network, or whatever you want to implement. You start by the business. So having a plan, having the right team, and again, managing expectations. I think that the data projects, I mean, they are a particular type of project. If you don't have enough data, or the quality of the data is not enough, you don't have anything else to do here. You cannot invent the data out of the blue. Okay, so that will be like the three things I try to make sure are agreed, and everyone agrees and understands before starting the project. Okay, if something happens, we go back and okay, we were here, and I mean, this is my everyday business.
Absolutely, and a really important element there sounds like the trust piece. So, what do you think about the importance of trust, and what do you think are the best ways to really, especially from a project-based approach, what are some of the best ways to really build and facilitate that trust?
Okay, yes, that's also spot on. It's a great question. Okay, I've been working in several companies in my life, so I've been day one in more than one company, and day one you don't have trust. Maybe you have trust of the person hiring you, but you don't have trust of all the stakeholders involved in that business, and that they are going to be involved with you in the coming projects. So you need to be very humble and very supportive from day one. Okay, so you need to get close to these stakeholders, understand their challenges, their problems, tell them that you are here to support them. Okay, and that's the truth. You are not here to get the job or anything else. You are here to support. Okay, and you need to listen. Okay, and to listen very careful. Okay, and to try to be humble and and then when you start working with them, okay, you need to also to gain the trust with your work. Okay, so you need to involve them from the beginning also, and you need, when for instance you are building a model, you need to share with them everything. Okay, so I'm using this data, this is my population of analysis, these are the variables that I'm going to analyze. This is the relationship with these variables and the variable we want to predict, for instance, in this project. What do you think? No, yes, this makes sense from the business point of view, but this doesn't make sense. Okay, don't worry. If this variable doesn't make sense, I'm going to drop it. Let's look for other one. So you need they're part of the team, okay? And you need them, okay? You cannot, and I've tried the opposite. I've tried, being with my team in a corner in the office and try to build things from myself and then go and saw it, and that doesn't work, okay? So again, you need to be humble. You need to understand them, try to understand their problems, their challenges, be very descriptive in the things you are going to build, very, very descriptive, and make them part of the decision. Okay, when I show the business stakeholders my plan, they always see a milestone that says the business stakeholder has to make the decision to go on or not to go. Okay, based on how the project is going. So they are leading the project in a way, and they have the key, okay, for the success of the project. Okay, and once you have the trust, sometimes you can work more on your own, and you can, for instance, use more black box models. Maybe you don't need to tell them everything you are doing because they trust you. But the day one, you need to be supportive, humble. You need to listen. You need to understand the business. They understand also. Even you need to try to understand it even more than them, if it's possible. Okay, and I mean it seems very. I probably understand that it's very obvious. Okay, for you and for the audience. But I've seen a lot of people in my lives, including myself sometimes, working the other way around. Okay, and that's about the egos that is within the artificial intelligence and data community, and that doesn't work. I'm at least in my experience.
And I'm now interested in, just based on what you said, about two things. So first of all, do you see, what role do you see that you play in the business? Are you a change agent? Are you a disruptor? And then my second question would be, how do you think other people perceive your role in the business? Because this really does tie with the I'm going to trust this guy, he is an X, or I'm not going to trust this guy because he is a Y. I mean, how do you see yourself?
Okay, I think they perceive me as a change agent, I will say, but they see that I'm not doing the trip on my own. Okay, I'm doing the trip with them, and I understand that if I want to transform the company and change the company, we need to work together. Okay. They also perceive that I would not say expert. I don't like to call myself expert, but I know something about data and data projects. Okay, and probably people at the business, they know about other things, so they understand that, and I understand too, that we need to work in a team, and we need ourselves. So that's how I think they see me. But to be honest, probably it takes, for sure, between 2 and 4 years, okay, since you enter a new company to be in this position. Probably the first year, although you are humble, you are supportive, and you try, probably they see you as a menace. You know, they see you as, okay, this guy's what's gonna do? Maybe I'm gonna told off by anything, or what this guy doing here? Okay, but in a couple of years, or sometimes more, okay, if you've done it right, they perceive you as an ally. Okay, for them personally / professionally, and for the company.
Mm. And look, you've been working in this space for many years now. What made you really fall in love with data analytics? You know, what really draws you and inspires you about it? Because you do come across this intense passion. So I want to really get to the roots of that.
Oh, okay. You know, I'm an engineer, and I'm a very engineer. Okay, in the sense that when it comes to things that are very abstract, you know, I'm not good with abstract kind of things, you know, or I don't know, in literature, or where people talk, you know, these grandiloquent speeches about goals and strategies and visions. I don't like that, because I don't understand it, you know, and I prefer going down to the data and see what the data is saying. Okay, I've been reading a lot about data. I've been studying a lot about data, and where I see that there is still a big opportunity around data that we are not capitalizing yet, because of this problem we were talking earlier in the conversation. Okay, we still produce reports, dashboards, listings, information that people don't use, or don't care, or it doesn't provide a real value. Okay, because it's not easy to provide real value with data. Like, I'm going to give you, I don't know if you know Avinash Kaushak. He's the digital marketing evangelist at Google, and he has a powerful and very interesting and very good blog, okay, where he talks about data, specifically in a digital marketing environment. Okay, and I read a post from him, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I can't remember, and he was saying, look, guys, a data guy doesn't need to provide insights, because the word insight, if you prepare in from sight, is the meaning is things that you can see, or at least things that you know, because they are insight. Okay, what we the data guys we need to do we need to provide to the businesses or to the company or wherever stakeholder you are dealing with, you need to provide them with out of sights, things that people don't know, okay? And that's my obsession. And that's very, very difficult, okay? That's very, very difficult. And that's where is my, where I try to do it every day. Look for the project or the analysis or the data that will give the businesses really valuable information that they can actionate upon. Okay, that's my obsession. And again, because the data doesn't lie. Okay, but the data doesn't lie. The data is correct. If it has enough quality, is complete. These kind of things. In fact, and let me linger a bit here. Another opportunity in the future that I'm seeing, and I'm not the only one seeing, is a data-centric approach of data projects, artificial intelligence, advanced analytics. Okay, because for I would say the 80% of the company, and within each company, the 80% of the data projects. Okay. Most of the work is in understanding the business and preparing the data. The models, the algorithms is not that difficult in most of the situations and most of the companies, again, okay? And because of this overselling, we have spent a lot of time talking about algorithms instead of spending a lot of time talking about the data. You need to gather the correct data, the quality, the completeness, and all these things. But if you have the data correct, then building the model is not that difficult in many of the cases. In fact, Andrew Ng, founder of Google Brain, Coursera, that you probably know, okay, he I think like months ago, he organized a hackathon around data-centric AI. Okay, I mean, and this is for me, I mean, top 10 of data leaders and you know and people that know a lot about this kind of things. Okay, so again, you know, opportunity here in getting back to the basics, having the data right, and focusing on the business. Don't focusing on the models, on the algorithms, on the cool stuff. Okay.
You don't know what you don't know, right? And one thing you touched on is that this data-centric approach. So from your experience, what are some of the biggest challenges to becoming data-centric? Do you think it's like data literacy across the business, or securing executive sponsorship, or changing perspectives and behaviors of key stakeholders? You know, from your own experience, like what is
from my experience? Yeah, also great question, and that's something that we haven't solved here yet. I mean,
you're not alone.
we need to make a distinction between two types of companies. Let me simplify it a lot. Okay, old companies with technological legacy and companies, you know, that have been born, you know, in the 21st century. Okay, because having the data right, data governed, data completed in legacy companies is much more difficult than this in new kind of companies. Okay, so if we focus on these old companies that, with technological legacy and legacy in the processes, okay, companies, you know, that there are a lot of connections between areas and departments, and things are mixed up sometimes. You need to have a data strategy, okay, and it's gonna take you many years to get to a point that you can say I'm mature in terms of data quality. But let me tell you some keys for success that I have implemented or I will implement sometimes. The first one is data governance. Data quality it needs to be a top strategy in the company. You need to sell it to the CEO. That you need to start from there.
Do you need to sell it to the CEO? You as the individual?
I mean, the person responsible for the data governance strategy or the data strategy needs to sell that this company needs to have a data strategy in order to overcome all this legacy. So in the future, all the data flows, data warehouses, things work better, are automated. Data quality is assured out of the box. This kind of things take many years, and you need resources, people, and money. Okay, so you need to go to the CEO, and you need to sell this strategy, but you need to sell it again, putting the value. Okay, what value is gonna produce for the businesses? Okay, in terms of new sales, of reducing costs, you need to make that. You need to try to explain in that way. It's not easy. It's not easy to connect sometimes data transformation processes running in the background, with a P&L, but you need to come up with a way to connect both worlds, which is connected, okay? Because if data is right, the people will make better decisions. You will provide them with better predictive models. You will understand how much a customer, how much money you need to spend to have a new customer in the company. This kind of things, but you need to explain. Also, you need to explain to the whole of the company, and this is probably is most important than the other point. Then data governance is not the responsibility of a team, of a data analytics teams that sits somewhere in the company. Data governance is responsibility of all the company, okay? Because from the salesperson that is introducing the data of a new customer in in an office in somewhere in Spain, for instance, to the people in risks or in audit, or the people in IT, all these employees, they touch the data, they do things for the data, and if they don't take care of the data, when we produce the models or the reports or the dashboards, it's too late. Okay, so it's very important to make them aware of this situation. But again, you need to sell it by the value, that this is gonna provide.
And what are some of your tips and tricks for getting that message through? So taking the data out of it and bringing the value forward to the C-level for the executives.
Well, I mean, it's not an easy thing. Okay, I mean, the good thing about the data governance that it's been in the media, and many of the big consultancy companies that get to talk with our CEOs, frequently, I would say they all talk about data governance. Okay, so we have like an open window now to take the opportunity to talk about data governance to them. But again, what you need to do is to tell them, okay, data governance is data security, data privacy, data quality, data completeness, and many other things. Okay, this is where, I don't know, McKinsey is selling, or Pricewaterhouse is selling, or whatever other consultancy is selling. Okay, but we're gonna do it in a practical way. Okay, we're gonna do first only this and this and this, because it's paramount for us. Okay, for instance, of course, privacy and security, you need to do it. You need to do it. That's not a no-brainer. But when it comes to other things, like the data governance policies, it says that you need to define a data owner, a data steward. You need to define, many roles that they are not in the organization right now. Okay, if you do everything, you're gonna saturate the employees and the other areas. Okay, you're gonna tell the CEO, okay, we're gonna only do this and do this, okay, because this will provide this value for the decision makers, for the businesses, for the stakeholders. Okay, instead of doing, here I come with this director plan, 4 years, a lot of money. No. We're gonna do it in the most practical way. And when you finish this first phase, let's say MVP or first phase, and you present results. Look, now people at the consultor, they have all this information to deal when a customer wants to lapse. Okay, or these people at this shop that we have in the street have all this information about the products and about this lead that wants to buy or not our product. Okay, and they will see that's a lot of value. And you don't need to tell them that you have automated quality rules in a program. You don't have to tell them you have built ETL processes. You don't have to tell them that you have, build an API or microservices for forever. You need to tell them, look, this ain't yet at your call center that gets the calls when the customer wants to cancel their policies. Now is going to have a predictive model that is telling the agent how sensitive is this customer to the price. So he can adapt the speech to make a bigger or not so big discount offer. Okay, and you have make it. Okay, and with that excuse, okay, let me say excuse, you are building data governance projects or products or processes in behind, okay, behind the scenes. Okay, but you are not selling data governance. You are selling value for the employees, value for the customers.
And you might be the best storyteller in the world. What advice do you have for someone who's gone through this process and they've really outlined the value, they've taken it to the executive leaders, and they're still saying no? I mean, is that a company that you walk away from? Do you reframe the conversation and maybe try and go in again? What are your thoughts there? Okay,
that's a difficult question. It depends on the situation of each individual at that moment of time. Okay, but you need to be resilient, and you need to find another way, and tell them. Find another way and tell them. What you shouldn't do is, like, if you don't this, your company, is going to be miserable in 5 years' time. You need to put it in positive always. Okay, and you need to try. You need to try. Probably sometimes, talking to consultancy companies, to other companies in different industries that they are undergoing these processes. There are many ways. Okay, but again, I think if you are humble, at some point they're going to tell you yes. Okay, maybe you don't get all the money you want, maybe you get half, but that's a starting point. If year after year you're getting no, probably that's not the company you want to be in. Okay, because they have a black future, I would say. Okay, because if you don't deal with the data issues and your legacy issues, at some point you're going to be stuck, because new players want to enter the market. These new players, they're going to be more agile in terms of getting new products into the market. They're going to have very competitive in terms of price. They're going to be very good in terms of the customer experience they're offering with the product. So you need to shorten out your data issues and your IT issues in general also. Okay, this is not only about data. Before the competitors come your way, or probably they are already coming.
Absolutely. And I've kind of given you a few big macro questions there, just tying it back into you. What important projects are you currently working on, where a lot of the things we've spoken about, trust, being an evangelist, persuading the business, what project are you most excited about working on at the moment?
I mean, we are okay. We are in many projects. There are some of them I sadly cannot talk about because they are very strategic for us. Okay, but I can talk of some of them. But let me talk about one of them that is a bit special. Okay, because this is particularly not oriented or not focusing pure business metrics, but it's more pure health metrics. Okay, here in my company, in the company that I work in, we work for business projects, but also for health projects. Okay, like building tools for doctors, basically, to help them in making decisions, in predicting, the risk of a customer, of a patient, of, getting a disease, this kind of things. Okay, we are in the baby steps, because there are a lot of things with the data that is complex, because the medical records are written in natural language, and there are other complexities that you don't have with the structured information. Okay, but we have a project that is called the Data for Good, or Sanitas, which is the company working, Sanitas Data for Good. What we are doing in this project is we are opening anonymized patients' records to the research and innovation community, okay, as open data, okay, to foster innovation around health, okay. The first data set we opened, it was around COVID, and we are now working with universities, we are working with investigation entities, we are working with other companies in building tools based in data, in artificial intelligence, to help tackle COVID. Okay, and for me, we came up with this initiative in COVID times, where all our first line and second line employees were in the hospitals, in the medical centers, in the care homes. And it was not easy times for them, as you probably understand. Okay, so us in the data department, we were like, what we can do to help here, and we came up with this initiative that is like, more like social responsibility initiative. Okay, we are also, this is in the health side. I'm also involved in a I think very difficult initiative, but this is the I would say the fourth version of this initiative, which is predicting how many phone calls our call centers are gonna get. Okay, so this is very technically challenging. Okay, even more after COVID, because the COVID has changed many patterns. Okay, so we are doing a very deep technical analysis of the information and the impact we are getting here for our customers is huge. Okay, but because when a customer calls us and we don't answer the phone, that's horrible for us. Okay, that's horrible experience, because you're calling us because you want a medical appointment, because you are not feeling good, because whatever things around your health and well-being. And for us, it's paramount to have the fair resources allocated to these call centers. Okay, that's another initiative. Also, we are spending a lot of time now, and it's kind of complicated. Also, there's we are evolving our BI platform. Okay, we used to work with IBM Cognos, and now we are moving. Well, now, like 3 years ago, we start moving our report dashboards and our self-service data sets to Power BI. Okay, but Power BI is only the tool. We have built something around the tool that we call it DOC. DOC stands for Data in One Click. Okay, because we want to have a different approach. Okay, we want to truly democratize access to data in the company. Okay, so we've created this initiative doc. The tool is Power BI, but the initiative is much bigger, because we are doing data governance within the initiative. We are training hundreds of employees in Power BI, but we are also training them in data culture in general. Okay, we are talking to the employees about the biases we have as humans. Okay, for instance, the confirmation bias. We are used to look for the data that confirms what we already know. And if we want to truly be a data-driven employee, we need to try, and it's a difficult thing, but we need to get rid of the biases and try to look at the data in the most, aseptic way possible. We also have done within Doc initiative, we have done marketing campaigns, communication campaigns. We have identified what we call our data in one-click ambassadors. Okay, people in the businesses that are like the early adopters of the tool, and they can also spread the word of the tool across the company. So, I mean, we are data guys, we are technical guys, but we are doing marketing, communication, we're doing training, we're doing many other things that we were not used to do. But believe me, it's as important and as having the reports and the dashboards and the self-service data sets. You need to go out to the stakeholders, to all the employees. Okay, this tool is here to help. Look, it's beautiful. You have the data, and try to make them also independent when it comes to access data and do reports and do analysis, because we are convinced that if you reduce the time to get the data, you will reduce the time to make the decision. And we think there's a competitive advantage there. Okay, before having this kind of tool, sometimes they write emails to us and they request data for their decisions. And because the resources are limited, sometimes we took weeks or sometimes months. You cannot delay a business decision a week or a month. Okay, and this is all the ambition around Doc. This is a very, very big initiative, and it's quite successful lately. And now also the new projects that are coming or I'm thinking of probably is around data in wearables. Okay, the wearables, and they are also progressing a lot in terms of the technology. You can gather a lot of health biomarkers with wearables, or you can gather health biomarkers with a picture. Okay, you can gather, the many things with the pictures, because the light, reflects on the blood of your veins, and there are artificial, intelligence models that can infer, your health rate, your beat rate, your heart rate, sorry, and your tension and other things. Okay, and I see there's a lot of potential in using that information, wearables and other information you can gather from devices, IoT in general, to produce or to build up products to do more preventive medicine. Okay, to personalize health plans for our patients. Okay, patients that are healthy, but because their patterns of the biomarkers, and if they walk a lot, they don't walk a lot, they are a lot sitting down, their heartbeat, other things, we can develop customized personalized health plans to this patient that they are health right now, but maybe they are not health in a couple of years or 3. Okay, so I see a lot of health products around wearable data. Not only me, this is not something I've come up. Google is working this, Apple with Apple Health is working in this, and we probably also start at least investigating and seeing how we can provide value to our customers with this data. Okay, and more or less, we have many advanced analytics models going on. We have other things going on, but I would say these are the big things. The data for good because of the social responsibility side, Doc because of the ambition, and this is a company project, and these other models on wearables that we will probably build in the future.
I only have one more question anyway. What are your personal recommendations and advice for data analytics leaders today?
I mean, that's a big question. I'm working my way to be a transformation leader. I don't think I am a transformation leader right now. Okay. I wanted to say that up front because it maybe seems that I'm not a transformation leader yet. I think I want to be one, I still need to have more experiences and to learn many things and probably have other experience. But for the time being, you know, and for my experience, what I think I already, you know, said, you know, knowing the basics. You need the basics about data. Okay. If you don't know the basics, you need to learn them. Okay. Get to know the basics. Okay, because if not, it's going to be difficult for you to deal with your team. Okay, because they're going to come up with things like, I cannot do this, or we're going to do this way or this approach, and you need to intervene there, because if not, things get stuck. So learn the basics. Okay, you probably don't need to know the newest reinforcement algorithm, but you need to know the basics around data. Okay, then you need to speak. You need to be business oriented. Okay, you need to talk the common language of the organization, and the simpler the speech, the better. Okay, there are different forums where you can get technical. Okay, and you can talk with other stakeholders about models, variables, and, you know, confusion matrices or wherever. But if you're a leader and you want to transform a company, probably you're gonna be talking to C-level guys, and at that point, the simpler the speech, the better, and business oriented. Okay. What else? Again, I'm repeating myself, but very important. You need to sell value, not technology. Okay, you need to know the basics, but you need to sell the value. Okay, so you need to think about how you're gonna sell this to this guy, but I need to talk about value, and value is money, basically, or is customer experience that you measure with NPS. Okay, that's value. Okay, that kind of things value. There are other metrics that are more direct or indirect for value that also work. Okay, but that's, for instance, you know, euros or dollars. That's value. So you need to talk these guys in this context. Also, try to don't use buzzwords or grandiloquent speech. Okay. Because maybe it works the first day, the second way, maybe it works in the hiring interview, okay? But you have very little time to add value, and people try to don't trust, okay? People that use grandiloquent speech or buzzwords that they don't understand. Okay, maybe you can convince someone in the organization because that person doesn't know a lot about data. Maybe you can, you know, convince him or her about something. But for C-level guys, if they see you, you know, using grandiloquent speech or buzzwords, these kind of things, they're gonna notice. They're gonna notice, and they're gonna write it down. Okay. Again, and I think I've already said, if you want to be a leader in transformation, you need to take risks. You need to take action. Okay, having a strategy is very good. Okay, this is my vision, this is my strategy, but you need to have concrete action plans with milestones, with dates, and you need to do it. And if you fail the first time, understand why you're failing, change, and move on. Okay, and that seems obvious, but I've seen so many companies and so many people talking about vision, talking about the strategy, talking about goals in 5 years' times. We don't know where we're going to be in 5 years' time. Come on. You need to plan for the next year. It's okay to have a vision. Okay, like I want to be the #1 health company in the world. Okay, for instance. No, that's my vision. But you need to plan for the next year, because things are going to change so fast in the next year that you cannot plan for the next ones. Plan for the next year, takes actions, takes risks. There's a risk, you can fail, and you can get, you know, fired. Okay, but you're a leader. Okay, so being a leader is risky just by its own. Again, and probably this is the first in the list. You need to be humble. You need, and especially if you work in data and artificial intelligence. Okay, because it's not the common thing. It's not the common thing. And if you are humble, people are going to notice it. Okay, this guy is something different. This guy is not selling me general artificial intelligence or whatever thing you're selling. Okay, this guy is selling me other things. Okay, other things, multi-skill, but I think that's also for any type of leader. You need to be multi-skill, emotional intelligence, very, very important. That's something more, personal probably, but you're gonna suffer. Okay, you're gonna suffer for sure. I think every leader suffers, but you're gonna suffer for sure. Because there is still a lot of people that don't understand the value within data. That's the reality. At least where I am. I mean, not in my company precisely. My company, thanks God, they foster a lot of the data, and that's why I'm here. But I still hear people and friends I have, or people I connect, in seminars or whatever, that they still don't understand, the value. They think that we are overselling, okay, and that's it. Well, and last but not least, and I think I already said, you need to foster in your team the critical thinking. Okay, this thing of move fast and break things, fake it until you make it, in the kind of data projects I've been involved, doesn't work. If you fail with one business stakeholder, you have a second opportunity. If you fail again, you're gonna be in the near to be fired, or at least people are gonna talk about you like, okay, this guy help is not supporting. Okay, so think before acting. The resources are limited, the money is limited. You need to think before acting, and that's what I would say. Again, this is my opinion. I've been working in, I would say, more traditional industries, telco, banking, health, service, service type companies. My company, they're doctors, nurses, people that take care of our old people. We are not a digital product company, so the differences are very big. So yeah, I wanted to make clear that point. That
most people don't work for Apple and Google, right? Most people do work for those. Most people work for companies that most people work for.
Yeah, that's. I always say the thing. 80% of the 80% of the use cases in the 80% of the companies use structured data, and I say in this because a lot of people are trying to sell me services, product, tools, software to process unstructured data, but that's the least thing, the least number of use cases. Why you don't start with a big part of the pie? Start with where the money is. Don't start in you need to process images of your customers and then you will understand. No. I mean, that's good, but the big things is in another place. Okay, at least for the 80% of the companies. Okay, if you are going to, I don't know, a research scientific company that they deal with a specific type of cancer, probably they need other things. But a company in the banking industry, in the telco industry, in the health industry in general, I don't know, in many other industries, they have other issues, they have other problems, they have other challenges. Okay, at least in my experience, and that's it.
And it's a super strong, positive experience. It's been a genuine pleasure speaking with you, Thomas. And hopefully we'll have you again on the show soon.
Whenever you want, Paul, at your disposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.